Hello everybody, this is Mr. Regener and I wanted to take you on a quick tour of Google Meets. Google Meets will be the program we're using this year for all of our online live sessions. So you'll be receiving a Google Meets link either through email or most likely in our Google Classroom. You'll click on that link to enter our class and this is what it's going to look like, with the exception that there's probably going to be more than just me in the room. While I'm in here, though, I wanted to show you a few things. And so first of all, just so we get this out of the way, my camera is here. So I look at my camera, it looks like I'm looking at you through the screen. My screen, though, is down here. So I'm going to be kind of looking at my screen, which looks weird because it doesn't look like I'm looking at you. With that being said, let's move along. So first up, we have the Meet ID. Every meet that we have, or every meeting that we have, will have a different ID number, or in this case, a bunch of letters. That doesn't really mean too much, so don't worry too much about that. Up here, you see the number of participants as well. If I were to click on that, this is no surprise, but it's just me. But normally, we'd be able to see all of the participants in the meeting or in that lesson. Also up here in that same section is the chat. So in the chat area here, I can send a message to everyone, and I can do that by just saying, hello, and click this button to send it. And it does a timestamp, and you can see I'm working into the late hours here. It's midnight, everybody. But it says hello, and that's what I typed in. Ideally, we can have conversations this way, so if you're somebody that maybe doesn't want to get on the microphone, you can always contribute this way. There may be questions where I ask you to type it into the chat, and this is where you would type it into the chat. So those are two really cool functions, and again, if I click this X, that just goes away. If I click on this little icon here, you see it goes right to the chat. So I have easy access to either the list of people or the chat. We're going to be using the chat for the most part, and that's something that you'll need to know. Another thing to know is down on the bottom of the screen. Now on the bottom, you see that we have a microphone icon. When I hover over it, it says turn off microphone. My microphone is on right now. If I turn it off, you're still hearing me, only because I'm recording this through a screencast video. But now my microphone icon is red, so it's very clear to see that it's off. It even tells me, because it hears some noise in my microphone, it hears me talking, and it says, are you sure you're not talking? Maybe you should unmute yourself. All right, this is a classic online issue when people are talking and they're muted, because then it looks like this. And no one understands what you're saying. All right, so the way we're going to operate it is kind of like a walkie-talkie. I used to play walkie-talkies with my brothers and my friends and stuff when I was a kid, and we loved to, press the button. All right, I'm in the backyard, over, and then we let go of the button. Somebody would say something, we press the button. Okay, that sounds good, over. We don't release the button. So we're going to operate the same way like a walkie-talkie. So we'll start with our microphones muted. And when we have something to say, or when we're called on, we unmute, we say what we're going to say, and then we go back to mute. That's going to help avoid a lot of extra noise. And also sometimes there's echoing that happens. So the sound coming out of your speakers goes into your microphone, and it creates this weird echoing that is really annoying. All right. In the middle here, we have an option to leave the call or leave the meeting. I don't want to do that. All right. This is a button we don't really press unless we're leaving the meeting. All right, so if class is over and we're dismissed, I say, have a great day, everybody. You press that button and it'll end that call for you. The other option is to click on the X in the upper right corner to just close that window, or the X and the tab to close the tab. Then finally, we have our video option. So you see my video is turned on. All right, so if I click that button, my video is now turned off. And I click that button and it's back on. All right, so when your video is off, it goes to your icon, I guess. I'm not really sure. The picture that you've used for your Google ID. Now notice as I'm talking, it's kind of making those little gray marks. So even without a video, people can still hear you. But we like to see your faces, and so we're going to encourage you to use your video. What I'd recommend is try to find like a place where you can work that would be kind of away from other people, away from distractions, and away from noise. And that way we won't have any kind of distractions in the background, and we won't have that extra noise, and you'll be able to focus. So that's going to be working out for everybody. There's some captions here, which are kind of neat. I'm going to try to show this off. So these are the captions, and you can kind of see that as I'm talking, it's saying in text what I'm saying in words. And so it's pretty cool. It's not 100% foolproof. There are mistakes from time to time, but it's a pretty neat option, and maybe this is something that you may want to check out. Turn this off for now. And then I have an option here to present, but there are times where I'm going to present information to you through maybe a PowerPoint presentation or a slides presentation or a document of some type, and you'll be able to see those things. These three buttons on the bottom right. When you click on those three buttons, we have a lot of options for you, one of which is settings. And so settings could be a helpful thing for you. That's going to help you with the audio and the video. So if you're having any kind of audio or video issues, you may want to go to those settings. For the most part, though, once you get it set up in your Chromebook, you're pretty much good for the rest of the year because it's always going to work the same way. We can go to full screen mode, which basically takes up your whole screen if you're looking at it in a smaller format. And we can change the layout. Now, this is odd because I'm the only person in this meeting, but if there's a lot of us in a meeting, you may want to see just the person talking. That would be Spotlight. You may want to switch it up and see just the person talking in a big screen and maybe other people off to the side. Or this is kind of my favorite, the tiled version, which doesn't look tiled here because I'm the only person in the meeting, but in a normal class setting, you would be able to see several people all tiled there. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to be able to see everybody right away. Now, Google Meet is awesome, right? It's a program we're going to be able to use throughout this year to meet and do our live lessons, but they're actually making it better. So we're looking forward to September when they roll out some new advances, and then October, November, and even December. So all throughout the first part of this year, they're going to be adding some different features to help make Google Meet even better. At that time, I'll probably come up with another video just to kind of show those off, and we'll be able to use them within our live session. So once again, this has been Mr. Regener. This is a quick walkthrough here of Google Meet. If you've never used it before, you'll get used to it very, very quickly, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you in Google Meet this year.